Hi, this is Suzanne Wachtel, and this is a podcast today about something that has been really reoccurring and occurring within my practice and my personal life. People that I'm surrounded by are really struggling with self-esteem and confidence. So today's podcast, I wanted to really go over some tools, some ways to change the ruts in your mind of thinking into really more positive self-love and self-esteem. Everybody has a sense of self, right? We're born into a variety of different challenges and events and circumstances and situations. And then there's our nature. We each have a nature. Some have a very gentle nature. Some people have more of a anxious nature. Some people have a more hostile, angry nature. And so a lot of these variables are kind of a given. And now we grow up, we go through the first, second, third, fourth, fifth years of our lives, and our little brains are really being programmed by what happens to us in our lives, in spite of our natures, the parenting we get, the love. And so we could have fabulous parents that love us unconditionally and make us feel valuable. And then we may go to school and be presented with a child or a teacher who is a bad energy person, like a bully, somebody that puts us down and questions our sense of self. So self-esteem really means how one feels about themselves. Self-esteem is so important. And with self-esteem on a high level comes confidence. So let's go back to the self-esteem. Often in life, we are presented in circumstances, whether it's in a group or one-on-one, where we aren't quite sure who we are in the world. And as we're younger people have less of that identity, less of that self-love, and less of the ability to really know who they are with confidence and a surety. So a lot of things happen in life from the time you're born and onward, between school and neighbors and friendships and families, etc., caretakers. And all of these little experiences, day by day, build who we are as a person, and that results in how we feel about ourselves. So I remember when I was young, I had no idea who I was. I had no idea if I was beautiful, if I was likable, if I was good enough. And I believe that those feelings just came from feeling vulnerable as a child and being exposed to, different people in my life. Maybe some were critical, some were judgmental, and that really affects how you feel about yourself. I remember to this day, when I turned 30, I decided that I wanted to go into therapy because I just felt like I really didn't know my value. I didn't know myself. I didn't really know who I was. I know that I moved over 18 times growing up. And so I learned how to adapt to each new environment, to fit in, to make friends, to attract friendship and people. And I figured out in my own way how to, get positive feedback from people. But I knew how to more or less, and I'm going to say it out loud, manipulate, so that I would be popular and I would be liked and all of that. So I became a pleaser, I became friendly, I became adaptable, I became easygoing. I was easygoing, I am easygoing by nature, so I'm lucky in that respect. But I remember moving to Long Island, and I just didn't know who I was in relation to the world. I had had such a different childhood and life up until I moved to Long Island at 30. And I would look around and not really know who I was in relation. So I went into therapy, and in therapy, I figured out who Suzanne wants to be, what feels good for me. I would look through magazines and decide what style really appeals to me. Otherwise, I would just emulate what everyone else was wearing because that was what the uniform of the area. But then I decided to take on a look of my own. I enjoyed a more bohemian style, a more loose fitting style, and I started to buy clothing and accessories that lended to what I liked. Talk about music. I didn't even know what I liked in music, besides I know I love Motown and Marvin Gaye, but I really didn't understand what kind of music was me. So back in the day, there were record stores. I remember going to one. That was my assignment for the day. And listening at each station to the different recording artists and just choosing the CD that made me feel inspired, upbeat, and happy. And that's how I learned to find the music I liked, and so on and so forth. So I needed to develop an individuality and a sense that what I liked mattered, what I enjoyed mattered. I didn't have to fit in. I didn't have to win people's approval. I needed to be authentic and really know who Suzanne is and what she wants and what she likes. Because by the time from 30 to 40, I started to do things that really resonated with my soul. For example, I rode horses as a little girl, and I always dreamed of one day owning a horse. And I just decided in one of these epiphany moments that I had passed a barn maybe 50 times going places in Long Island, and I just pulled in one random day and said, you know what? I've always wanted to ride horses, and that's what I'm going to do. I went in, I signed up for my first lesson in over 20 years, and went home to try to find something to wear to my first lesson. And not only did it really fill my cup, but I enjoyed it so much, I started taking 2-3 lessons a week, onto leasing a horse for the whole summer, trail riding, making new friendships, and eventually buying my own horse and really enjoying that part of my life. So until I started to take the time and figure out who I was, what I wanted, things that really felt good for me, I started to learn my value. That I didn't have to be in the world to please everybody. That as long as I felt good about myself when I looked in the mirror, that was good enough. And as a result of really becoming more authentic, really listening to my heart and my inner voice and my soul, and knowing that I had value, just not really understanding that I didn't have to please everybody else to get friendship and to be liked and to be loved. And it really mattered, because what happens is, after a while, when you feel good about yourself and you're proud of yourself, you start to build confidence. And confidence is so attractive. I have so many friends and patients that are so self-conscious. When they walk into a room, they really believe that people are looking at them, that they are not enough, that they look heavy, that they are judging them, etc. And I have to be honest, I tell each and every one of them, that is in your mind of self-loathing. Self-loathing means when you put yourself down. And it comes from perhaps a history, perhaps, of a critical parent, a critical spouse, a critical teacher. And therefore, that kind of emotional abuse is turned inward, where we abuse ourselves. They're not going to like us. They're going to put us down. We're always sort of waiting for the ball to drop, where we're going to be rejected, abandoned, and unliked. Once you learn how to really, I know this is so corny, love yourself. I know people say if you don't love yourself, you can't love other people. But it is really true. If you love yourself and you're kind to yourself with the words, even the words that you say to yourself, then you start to really heal and become the woman or man you're meant to be. And other people will pick up on that energy of power, the power of self-love, the power of kindness, the power of being gentle with yourself. And when you're kind with yourself, it teaches you that you're worth it, that you're valuable, that you deserve to be treated with respect, with love and kindness. So what I tell everyone is, when you walk into a room, no one is looking at you and judging. They are only thinking how they look or how they feel about themselves. When you walk in with your head up high and feel confident that you are proud of who you are and you're proud of how you look and you're proud of the person that you have become, people will see that. They will see that much more than they will see a flaw in you. They will learn to respect that you have self-worth. And many young women especially have a very low self-esteem, and they are so concerned with being criticized and judged and accepted by their peers. There is a lot of pressure. I have a granddaughter who, is beautiful, and she spends many, many hours, putting on that makeup, taking photos. And I believe that it just after a while, it becomes how you look. And if, your looks change in any way, it can really affect how you think of your value. When you don't know your value and you don't understand how valuable you are, you may end up with people that are not healthy, that are toxic, and that will exploit that weakness. Not knowing your value is a weakness. And if they sense a weakness, somebody, I know the big buzzword these days is narcissist. Well, a narcissist is somebody who preys on a person that is insecure and doesn't have confidence or self-worth. So if a narcissist, right, who feels insecure themselves, but literally finds somebody who they can love bomb, make them feel beautiful and wonderful in a very exaggerated way, and the insecure person falls for it, thinking, oh, this person finally understands me and loves me and cherishes me and gets me, not realizing that it could be just a temporary act to suck you into their web. And once you're in a narcissistic web, narcissists, unfortunately, are very self-centered. They are self-serving, and they do not come with a lot of empathy or compassion. So once you are in their web and they feel secure with you, then they can possibly continue to feed on your insecurity to keep you under their control. So it is very important, young or old, it's never too late, to really learn about the ruts in your mind that have been created by your experience from day one of how you feel about yourself. Did you ever meet anybody and you say to yourself, how do they walk around with such confidence? They're far from what we use as a example of somebody that, like you would be like, oh my God, that person's amazing. And yet they walk with their head up high and they are confident as can be. And they're happy, man. And they are attracting love and relationships and abundance, because those are the things that abundance and love are attracted to, is self-esteem and self-love. So I find always that a very interesting phenomena that some of the most, let's say, beautiful, intelligent people don't turn out as successful because they're lacking that sense of pride and that sense of really feeling good about themselves. I love the cover photo of this podcast. It's a card I received years ago from my husband, and I saved it. I've saved it for about 20 years now, because when I look at that card, it reminds me how far I've come to really be honest and admit that I think I am amazing and I have done so much work. Am I perfect? Nobody's perfect. But I really have worked so hard in loving myself unconditionally, forgiving myself when I make a mistake, praising myself when I'm proud of accomplishments. I work in a field where I help people to learn all of these tools and skills. And I really believe if I don't walk the walk, how dare I do the talk? So I need to lead and live by example of taking care of myself, praising myself, saying beautiful things and loving things to myself, and hopefully with great confidence, loving and taking care of the people in my world, from my family to my friends to my wonderful patients. I am so blessed and honored to be in a position to guide and help other people through these difficult challenges of life. So please, this podcast is about self-love, self-worth, really turning it around, the self-loathing, and really figuring out what your value is. And once you realize your value and you understand how amazing you are, I'm telling you, the law of attraction, having that positive high frequency of energy surrounding you with the positive thinking, you will attract so much more into your life. Things beyond your wildest dream, from abundance to love to friendships to relationships to an entire tribe. Believe me, I live by example. This stuff really does work. So, my amazing people, have a beautiful day, and please, the mantra is, I am enough, I am lovable, I am wonderful, I am a good person, I deserve to be happy, I deserve to have a great life filled with love and health and abundance and friendships and relationships. I am lovable. On that note, have a beautiful day and take care. Bye.